Shut up and sit down.
Hello, my friend. You are listening to the Dance Studio Scaled podcast, the number one place for innovative marketing, retention strategies, and business growth ideas made just for dance studio owners. Now, this isn't your average business podcast. We're here to shake things up, simplify the hustle, and focus on real, actionable insights. I'm your host, Jen Dalton, and after 30 years of running studios, coaching owners, and scaling businesses, I know one thing's for sure. There's no one size fits all in this industry. You've got the passion, and I've got the tools to help you take it to the next level. So hit that subscribe button, grab a coffee, and let's scale your studio together. Well, hey Dance Fam, I'm back. Now, if you were listening along every week, you probably noticed the podcast suddenly went very quiet. Now, the funny thing is that wasn't actually the plan. I took what I thought was going to be a 2-week break, and those 2 weeks somehow became 8. And today I just thought I would simply sit down and have a chat with you about why. Now, this is not because I feel like I owe anyone an explanation, but because I actually think there are some really important lessons that came out of those 8 weeks. And honestly, I think a lot of studio owners need to hear them. Because if you are anything like me, sometimes you keep pushing, you keep creating, you keep showing up, even when something inside you is quietly whispering, this doesn't quite feel right. So today is less about where I've been and more about what I learned whilst I wasn't recording and showing up here. Now, I realized over the years that businesses have seasons. And for us as studio owners, it's not just financially, it's not just with enrollments, but personally. Now, some seasons are all about growth, some are about momentum, some are about building. And some are just about stepping back long enough to hear yourself think again. And I think that's where I've been. Now, the funny thing is, from the outside, everything looks good. The mastermind is thriving. The members are incredible. We had our retreat in May, and honestly, I still don't quite have the words to describe what happens in that room. Yes, we work on business. Yes, we work with plans. Yes, we're solving problems, but it's so much bigger than that. It's the friendships, it's the support, it's encouragement. It's hearing someone say, I've been feeling exactly the same way, or that's the same problem I'm having right now. It's watching studio owners who arrive feeling overwhelmed, but leave standing taller or thinking bigger, feeling lighter. And every year I leave retreat also completely blown away because of the people in the room. It's the conversations, the generosity, the willingness to help each other. It's honestly one of my most favorite weeks of the entire year. Now, going back before retreat, I actually planned to launch another intake into the mastermind. Now, the goal was I was opening up a new 10 lot of spaces. Everything was ready, the strategy was there, the campaign had been started, but something felt quite off, and every single step felt heavier than it should have. It wasn't flowing. It wasn't exciting me. It almost felt like I was trying to convince myself to keep going, and that's unusual for me. Normally, I know exactly where I'm heading. Normally, I feel excited, but this time, every email felt hard. Every piece of content that I was trying to create felt forced. Every decision felt like I was pushing uphill. And I don't know if you've had that feeling within your studio, within your business. Maybe you're feeling it right now, where technically everything is right, but emotionally it's just not landing. Now, for years, I did ignore this feeling that came up, and I just kept pushing harder. I would work longer. I would just post more. I would tweak the launch. I would change the messaging, because somewhere along the line, we have been taught that if it's not working, we have to just push harder. We have to hustle harder. But this time I didn't. I stopped. The plan was not forever. It was just long enough to ask myself, why? Why does this feel so difficult? Why am I pushing so hard? Why is it not feeling in alignment? And that's where the interesting part started, because the answer wasn't actually the launch. The launch wasn't the problem. I was. And not in a bad way, but I just identified that I was creatively exhausted and I didn't realize it. You know, when you've spent years solving problems, you're creating all the time, you're finding music, you're thinking strategically, you're supporting people, you're supporting your team, you're supporting your family, you're supporting your dancers, constantly needing to make decisions, eventually your brain will start to whisper, I've got nothing left. Now, for me at this point, I wasn't burnt out. However, I felt like I was on my way to burning out. And I still absolutely loved what I was doing. My complete focus was with my mastermind members. And I loved coaching them. And so my whole focus was on them and the work we were doing together. But creatively, I just had nothing left in the tank. And I've learned something about myself. When my creativity disappears, everything just becomes harder. Innovation becomes harder. Motivation becomes harder. Decision making is harder. Even simple things feel really heavy. And it's not lazy. I can only describe it as feeling really flat. And there is a big difference. Another thing that I realized is just how much the seasons affect me. Now, recording this right now, it is winter. And if you know me, you know that I am definitely a sunshine person. The warmth, the heat, give it to me. I want to sweat in a corner. I love that. I genuinely think that the sun recharges my soul. I'm like, I need solar panels to take in the sun's rays. Winter has always been a slower season for me. I have less energy, I have less motivation, I have less creativity. And for many years, I just worked through that and fought it. I expected myself to perform exactly the same as I did in July as I do in October. But now I just don't think that's realistic. Nature has seasons, and so our businesses also have seasons. And why wouldn't we, right? The other thing that I kept coming back to was the mastermind itself. And I just found myself asking, what actually matters here? And every answer kept coming back to my girls, the relationships, the conversations, the community. Last launch, we welcomed 9 new studio owners in. It was easeful, the whole process. I honestly couldn't have handpicked a better group if I tried. Well, I do handpick them because that's how important it is to have this group aligned. They are kind, they're generous, they're thoughtful. They genuinely want each other to succeed. There's no ego, there's no competition. It is just people building meaningful businesses together. And somewhere in the middle of all that thinking, I realized, why am I trying to push with more? Why do I want more at that time? Maybe I don't need to rush another launch. Maybe I don't need to open up another 10 spots right now. Maybe I don't need to consistently keep chasing bigger. And my job right now is to simply keep making this experience even better for the people who are already in here. And then that thought process, that felt aligned. That gave me that excited feeling again. And most importantly, that felt easy. Now, one of the biggest lessons that I learned in the last 8 weeks reminded me of this. Not everything that feels hard means that you're on the wrong path. Sometimes business is just hard. Sometimes you simply have to do the work, but sometimes hard can be information. Sometimes it's your intuition trying to get your attention. Sometimes it's telling you, pause before you build something that isn't quite right. The trick for us as dance studio owners is learning the difference. So, where does that leave us now? Honestly, I'm in a good place. I love my community. I love my mastermind girls. Every week we are laughing, we're celebrating, we're solving problems. But we're also talking about the mad, the bad, the sad, and then we come back to what actually matters. And it's building those businesses that support the lives that we want to live, not businesses that constantly consume us. And I think that's become even clearer for me over the past couple of months, which brings me to what's next. Well, I don't need to tell you, it is July. And for me, July has always felt like the start of a new business year. While many are content continuing, riding the momentum of your current year, and if this is you and it works for you, then that is so great. But for me, this is actually when I love helping studio owners start thinking ahead. Because I talk about strategic planning all the time, and it can seem like quite an overwhelming thought process. However, if strategic planning shouldn't feel overwhelming. When it's done properly, it actually has the opposite effect. It should create calm. And so over the next few weeks, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about. It's going to be the practical stuff, the stuff that we can start strategically planning to get you ahead, ready to have the most successful new year. And so I'm going right back to basics, right back to the practicals, the timetables, the staffing, re-enrollment, marketing, new offers, fee increases, systems, and excitingly, I want to talk about different IA solutions and some ways to start thinking about how you can utilize AI and these particular systems in your business. And now I know there are some people that really don't like the thought of that, but I look at AI as ways to make my life more simple, more efficient. And that's what I'm busy creating and building out with my current members of the mastermind, is working out these systems that just makes their life easier. These are the practical things that I want you to have sorted before next year even arrives, because I genuinely believe the studio owners who plan now are the ones who get to truly enjoy and have downtime in December and January without worrying about enrollment numbers or where the next lot of people are going to be coming from, the social media, what to post, the money, and everything else that comes along with running a business. So, thank you so much for waiting. Thank you for still being here. I'm genuinely excited to be back, and I think these next few months are going to be some of the most practical episodes that I've ever recorded. So if you're ready to build a business that is simpler to run, that is more profitable to own, and gives you more capacity to actually enjoy your life, then you are in the right place. I will see you next week.